and welcome back to Hypnosis Today, where we explore how people are using hypnosis to achieve remarkable things. If you've just joined us, we have as our guest Sue French. Now, Sue is an honors grad of HMI College of Hypnotherapy, and she was a guest speaker recently at the American Hypnosis Association with her program on weight loss in the 12-step program. I also have as my very special guest, Chris, who came in initially to see Susan for weight loss, but discovered that some of the cause of those feelings were really anxiety, and that treating the anxiety would help to manage the weight. Please help me welcome my guests. Well, Chris, I want to start with you. How did you find Susan French?
I found Susan French by looking on the internet for a hypnotherapist, San Fernando Valley, and researched HMI. I had been to an HMI hypnotherapist years ago, and so I was a little bit familiar with the approach and wanted to do that again, and found Susan's smiling face on her website, on your website, and talked to her on the phone and made an appointment.
So you originally came in for weight loss. When was it that you discovered that this was really not your number one priority with hypnotherapy?
Pretty much right away. When I sat down with Susan, I had gained a lot of weight after surgery. I was on prednisone and gained 40 pounds in 6 months, and I was freaking out. But in talking about it, I was managing and I was losing weight. And it really came down to anxiety over the surgery, over things that had happened, before the surgery, probably dating back to the Northridge earthquake.
Of course.
And she was able to help me uncover some of those causes and deal with the anxiety. I think the first thing I said when I came in was, don't tell me to just breathe. So many people just tell you to breathe. Well, guess what? She told me to breathe, and it worked.
You know what? Now I'm going to go to you, and I am very, very proud because Susan French has been in private practice for over 10 years, and I am still her mentor.
Yes.
So how did you also ascertain that you wanted to start with reducing stress before going to any issues of weight management?
I had learned a lot about the physiology of stress, for stress of my own, and I had been taught some very special methods to breathe deeply, diaphragmatically, breathe from the belly. But you have to do it in a very special way, and if you don't do it in that way, it won't work. And I followed the research of Dr. Herbert Benson, who was a physician at Massachusetts General, who did the first research in stress management. And so I learned the breathing, the special breathing from what I learned from him. So I taught that to Chris.
Can you teach us?
Oh, I probably can. You want to make sure that you relax all the muscles in your abdomen and that you breathe all of the old air out so that you can breathe in new air. If anybody's done yogic breathing or breathing for singing or Lamaze breathing, it's all the same. The main thing is that you want to not breathe high in the chest, like that. You want to breathe down here so that this expands. And so I tell people, imagine you've swallowed a tire, or that you're a balloon, or that your whole upper body is a container, and fill it with breath. Once the breath goes down that deeply, it triggers the relaxation, physiological relaxation response, releasing the neurochemicals that relax us.
Now, I love that, and I have to say, you walked in and say, don't tell me just to breathe. When Susan explained it to you, what changed your mind about giving just breathing a try?
Partly her explanation, which is what she said just now, and partly the hypnotherapy itself sort of put my critic to sleep.
Yes.
Sort of put that filter that says, yeah, but it's not going to work on me, or breathing that's too simple, or this is not for me. I'm too rational. I'm not touchy-feely. I'm not. This is not for me. It put all that to sleep, And as I relaxed, I was able to hear her,
Yes.
where, I've been in therapy before, and I've gotten very good advice, but the resistance kind of slowed my progress.
Of course. So here, very interesting, you were able to put the inner critic or the inner skeptic to sleep. I want to know what inductions you used.
Well, because Chris was so anxious when she came in, I knew that she was already in a hyper-suggestible state, which we go into when we're traumatized. And so I knew that, so I sat her down and I did a rapid induction with her in which I had her stare at the ceiling and just let her eyelids close, and they closed almost immediately, as I recall. And then I did the eye challenge with the eye lock, and she just dropped.
Well, of course, and that helped put the inner critic to sleep. And when you heard her, what did you hear that really resonated with you?
I heard that it was okay to
Yes.
let go, okay to relax.
Mhm.
I heard that the anxiety was there for a reason, but that I had management of it, not necessarily control, but management. And I don't remember exactly how she did it, but I was able to reduce the anxiety.
Yes. I'll tell you what I love about what you just said, and you were so mindful as you were speaking it out loud. It was like you were re-experiencing it, Chris.
I am breathing deeply right now.
Yes, I see that. Because you know what? If someone gives you advice and says, it's okay, it's all right to let it go, part of you says, the logic, reason, willpower, voice, decision-making, and superior judgment says, no, it's not okay to let it go. But once you quiet that inner critic, you can hear, it's all right to let it go. You don't have to control it, but you can manage it. And that's really beautiful. What other techniques did you use to help her not control it, but manage it?
Well, I took her into hypnosis in a typical hypnosis way of, I told her first that we were going to do several things in hypnosis, that I was going to count her down using the breathing to incorporate that so that she would always have that. And then I had her create the safe place of empowerment that I have all my clients use, because that's such a good state to anchor. Once you've gotten in there, you can remember what it feels like and go right into it. So that's what I teach them, that all you have to do to get here again is to remember what it felt like. And so I took her down into the safe place. And one of the things that I did was have her then bring the anxiety up just a little bit, and then dial it back down. Bring it back up to not an uncomfortable level, and then and we used a dial, as I remember, we used a dial to dial it back down, and she realized that she was at cause, that she was not at effect, that she was at cause, that she could create the calmness when she
Yes.
wanted to by simply thinking it.
So was that very empowering for you?
Yes.
So when you were out in the world, in vivo, not in the imagination, but out in the world, and something stressful happened because life happens. How did you incorporate these techniques in a full waking state to return to a state of relaxation?
Breathing.
Just
I breathe.
breathe.
I breathe. I breathe a lot.
Uh-huh.
And from there, call on different techniques, putting things into perspective. Susan is a great spin doctor. She can look at something, I can come in and say, this is awful, and she'll kind of turn it into, well, maybe not. Or I do this, and I'm terrible because I do this.
Yes.
Well, you might be doing it because you need to do that right now. And it sort of gave me a different perspective.
Oh, excellent. So you can have that reflection and a different perspective that's objective. I love that. I'm going to just reflect on something you said earlier, that you walked in, this is not going to work for me, I'm not all touchy-feely, I don't think this will work. What would you say to other people who are not pursuing hypnotherapy because they, like you, are skeptical and don't think it will work for them because they're not touchy-feely?
If they've had traditional therapy, this is like traditional therapy times a million. It helps it, say it's a difference between a 10-minute makeover and a complete spa day, I guess would be. Because you may be hearing the same things, and we all know what we're supposed to do.
Yes.
But somehow, and it's magic, and I can accept that, it takes the message, it helps you accept the message. And what you do with it is your choice, but it helps you accept the message, and there's no voodoo, there's no, no touching and no feeling. But
Good for you.
I learned.
but it does help you get in touch and feel what you need to feel.
Oh, I'm glad there's no voodoo, but I'm glad there is hypno-magic. It appears that we're out of time for today, but I want to thank my very special guests, Susan French, who you can reach on hmigrads.com if you are looking to learn more about hypnotherapy and stress reduction, or you would like to learn about how you can incorporate the 12 steps with your weight loss clients. I also want to thank our other very special guest, Chris, for coming in and joining us. I want to thank everybody here in the studio audience and everyone watching at home. My name is Lisa Mackenberg, and I hope you'll join us next time when we meet more people and explore how they are using hypnosis today. But please stay tuned. We have a lot more coming up for you on HMI Web TV. That's Hypnotherapy Television 24/7. And she was a guest speaker recently at the American Hypnosis Association with their program on weight loss in the 12-step program. I also have as my very special guest, Chris, who came in initially to see Susan for weight loss, but discovered that some of the cause of those feelings were really anxiety, and that treating the anxiety would help to manage the weight. Please help me welcome my guests. Hello and welcome back to Hypnosis Today, where we explore how people are using hypnosis to achieve remarkable things. If you've just joined us, we have as our guest Sue French. Now, Sue is an honors grad of HMI College of Hypnotherapy. Well, Chris, I want to start with you. How did you find Susan French?
I found Susan French by looking on the internet for hypnotherapists San Fernando Valley. And research